Hey, how's it going, YouTube? This is Adam here with Retro Repairs, and I'm about to take a look at another lot of stuff that I just picked up. So here I picked up 3 items from a local sale. 2 of them belong to the Sega Master System. So we have a Sega control stick, which is like an arcade joystick style controller, and the light phaser, which is just like the NES light gun. So, I mean, those are great and all. I don't really care, so we're gonna put those aside. What I'm more interested in is this guy. For those of you that don't know what this is, you're forgiven. They're not very popular, they're not very common, and they didn't last very long. This is the Panasonic 3DO. So this is the second version, or second revision of the, second revision of the 3DO. The first one had a front-loading disc tray, and this one is the pop top with the top loader. Again, like I mentioned, 3DOs are pretty uncommon, so I really don't have anything for a 3DO. I've never had one before. I've never seen one before, so this is going to be new for me as well. A couple of things that I like about the design. Firstly, look at the back. The back has your standard AC plug, just like a Dreamcast and just like a Sega Saturn, so that's good. You also have your S-video, composite video, and RF out, all built right in here, so no proprietary connectors needed. Not like the Saturn or most Nintendos or anything like that where you have to buy some odd connector that will only work with that system. This one, you can use any type of RCA cables that you've got to try and hook it up, which is exactly what I'm going to do. So I've got myself my power cord from the Dreamcast or the Saturn. Doesn't really matter, they're both the same. So let's try plug it in. Let's hook up some video, or audio and video. So let's go white, red, and green, I think was the magic combination I chose. Now, how do I turn this on? Oh, right here, there's a power switch on the side. So currently it's in the off position. So let's try turn it on, just see what we get here. So far so good, we've got it booting up. Now, I've got no idea if there's supposed to be audio here or not, so hopefully not, because I'm not hearing anything. Insert CD. So I don't have any discs for this, but the 3DO supposedly does not have copy protection. So I've borrowed a backup copy of this just for the purpose of testing. It's GEX 3DO. This was one of 3DO's, I guess, more popular games. It's involves a lizard, some sort of platformer maybe, I don't know. I've never played it. Like I said, I've never had a 3DO. It has been ported to some other systems as well, so it's possible that you may have played it on the PC or something like that, but I never have. So let's try this again. So we do get an access light, and it's blinking, so hopefully that's good. Oh, let's see what we've got here. And there we go, we're booting right into the game. So this is definitely a good sign. There we go, we have some sound now. So this is definitely a good sign. Although for me, what that means is I'm going to need to buy a controller, since it does have it has a unique controller. If you look at the controller port, it looks like it takes a standard Sega Genesis or Atari controller, which is not the case. Although they will physically fit, supposedly trying to use a Genesis controller on here will either, from what I read, it says it will fry it. Whether that means it'll fry the 3DO or the controller, I'm not sure. Not a risk that I'm willing to take. So I'm going to have to order a controller, we'll get it in, and this will be a fully functional system. So I am happy about this pickup. Now, in the meantime, until I do get my controller in, I think it's about time we tear this apart, get it all cleaned up and looking really nice. We got a label on here, like someone recently bought this from a pawn shop or something. It's also just full of dust and years of neglect, so let's get that opened up, clean it up, and try and see if we can't get this looking like new again. Otherwise, it's in very good shape. There's no big scratches, gouges, or anything like that, so I'm very happy about this pickup. All right, so let's get ready to open this 3DO here. So to start, you just got to flip it over. So hear that? So it sounds like something's rattling inside. So I guess we'll see what's really at play here. So yeah, to open this up, it looks like there is 6 Phillips screws. One there, there, and there. So we'll take those out and just take the top off. All right, so the screws are removed. The screws are going to look just like that. So they're not a super common screw as far as what you see in other systems. They're kind of long. They're black, so I mean they do stand out. So just to keep those separated. Turns out there's one more screw. There's one here in the middle, which I didn't notice. So we'll take that out as well. And let's flip this over. One thing I'm going to do, this little expansion port here, I'm going to try to take that off. I don't know if that will inhibit me from opening the case or not, but I guess we'll find out. And ideally, the top should just lift right off, and it does. So here we have the top, not really a whole lot to it. I mean, it looks pretty straightforward. There's a hinge, there's a lid, there's a little connector here that the lid snaps into. So we're gonna get that apart here shortly. But what I'm looking at want to look into here is the rest of the system. So here we have the board. This is the power supply right here. And one thing you want to do when you're especially dealing with power supplies, but really any system, is turn the power on and let it just stay on. These capacitors here, they do hold a little bit of voltage even when the system's turned off. So you always run the risk of shorting something out, which you don't want to do. So I'm going to leave that on and just get to work at removing these screws. So this uses a smaller screw head, so I'm going to have to grab a smaller screwdriver. Alright, so it looks like the screws inside here require a number 1 Phillips, which I've got here. And they are slightly different. They're actually pointy. They're sharp at the bottom here. Usually these are used for you know, screwing into wood or MDF or something, but apparently in this case they're also used for plastic. And one more here. And then we have this ribbon connector. So we'll disconnect the ribbon connector just by pulling it up straight, and the power supply board should just lift right out. Or not. Somehow the power switch has to come out, because that's what's holding it in place still. And this, I wonder if this pops. I see. So the power plug, it looks like it has this little connector guy here, which should pinch in and then allow me to remove the plug. So I'm going to try and get to work at that, and once it's out I'll show you. Alright, so the easiest way I found to get this out is you get to work on one side of it, pushing it. You have to push fairly hard. Push this in, and then from the outside you grab it and try and pull it out that way. And the same thing on the bottom. Grab it, pull it out, and that's a power plug. So one thing to make a note of, when you put it back, the square end has to be facing the inside of the system. I don't know if the system can invert or change the power if you do happen to plug it in backwards, or maybe it won't even fit. But to eliminate that from even being an issue, just make a note to yourself. Oh yeah, it looks like the plug doesn't even let you put it in the wrong way, but it's still important to make sure that you are putting it in properly. So take that out. When I flipped it up, this part also fell right out, and this is a little LED diffuser, I guess, which sends that LED signal up to the light signal up to the case. So again, that just comes out, and now it looks like we have to do the same thing with this power switch. So pushing in on one side it's kind of tricky to get to. So I'm going to work at that and back once it's... There we go. So same thing. This is just a basic on-off switch, and you just got to work at it one side at a time to disconnect it. So now that that's out, the power board just lifts right out, and this is the power supply. So worth noting, it looks like it uses a different voltage regulator than most systems that I'm used to opening. It's a C4953. Most of the older systems use a 7805, so I'm not sure what the difference is. It might output different voltage, or it might be rated for a different type of current. This is our big capacitor here. This guy rated for 200 volts. It's 150 microfarads, but it's a fairly hefty size capacitor. Otherwise, this is everything that just makes the power supply work. So we're going to set that aside, and let's take a look here at the disk drive. So this is the laser assembly right here, and I just have to figure out how this comes apart. So maybe there's a screw on the underside. I really don't know. So I'm going to take a peek at this for a bit, and I will show you what it is that we have to do to get that out. Okay, so to open this up, this is a little odd, but there are two kind of, I don't know what you call them, they're not screws, but two things holding this in place. And there are 4 posts that this sits on. So what you need to do is flipping it over, you notice there's these 4 holes right here. Just by taking a screwdriver, let's see if I can show you kind of what it looks like inside. I don't think we're going to be able to get a good enough... Oh, there we go. So you see there's some sort of post in here, and same there. What I did is just take a screwdriver and just push it, there we go, until it releases. And then that little post will just come right up like that. And same thing for the other side. So we'll take it, flip it over, support the drive with your fingers so that it doesn't pop out. But just giving that a good push, and that one actually popped right out. And there we are. So now the drive should be able to just lift right out. We have a piece of tape that holds it in place. This tape indicates to me that probably no one's been tampering with this until now. So I'm going to be that guy. Oh, that's just the cover. So the cover of the laser here will lift right off. This tape looks like it's designed to completely fall apart if you try to tamper with it. So I guess I can't send this out for warranty now if we run into issues. Oh, sorry, it looks like you are sideways here. That's my bad. There we go. Back to normal. So now, the drives usually just lift right out. They're usually just kind of sitting on these posts, and we have, looks like 2 connectors I need to be aware of. One right here that connects it to power supply on the board, which I'm going to, it's kind of tricky to get in here. There's not a lot of room. There we go. And another one, this is probably the data connector. Oh, there's another power connector right here, so that will also have to come up. Oh, there's a data connector right there, data ribbon right there, data ribbon right there. So there's a lot holding this drive into place. I really don't want to just grab these wires and start yanking on them, so that's where we run into issues. All right, so drive is removed. Drive looks pretty clean, so it read the disk. Obviously not a lot of issues there. Now we have to remove this shielding. So the shielding, again, should be pretty straightforward. You grab your number 1 Phillips and just start unscrewing. There's 1, 2, 3, and it looks like just the 4 screws here. So that should now lift just right up. Something's kind of holding. Oh, one more right here that I missed. So 5 screws in total holding this shielding into place. There we go. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So again, these are the same kind of sharp-tipped screws that we were that we used to take apart the power supply. So nothing new there. And now we've got the board. So the board itself, I mean, this is a pretty big motherboard. This is the lid close mechanism. So this detects whether or not the lid's closed or opened. This is your BIOS battery, so battery that helps hold the date and time, that type of thing. Got a whole bunch of different type of capacitors on here. Bunch of chips. Again, I'm not sure what any of these really do, having never opened up a 3DO before, but I'm assuming the big one's probably the CPU or PPU or something. One of the ROM chips is missing, so I wonder if they made a revision maybe that had a built-in game or extra features, or they were planning something that never really came to life in this. But another one here is missing, so this is IC680. No idea what that would be, but again, just kind of interesting things to take a look at. The board itself is only held down by 2 screws, it appears. One here and one there, so we'll get to work taking those out, and then the board itself should just lift right out. Once it's out, we're going to soak the casing, scrub it up, get it clean, and reassemble it. So should be a pretty simple teardown here. Lifting the board out, you got to be careful as the RF connector on the back pokes out through the casing, so you can't just lift it straight up. You got to lift the front out first, and then the back will come with it. And then we have the bottom shielding, which seems to be held in place by something. Is it just glued? I think they just kind of stuck it in place, so there we go. So yeah, there's just a little bit of two-sided tape which holds this shielding in place. I don't want to really kink it, so I'm just trying to carefully pry it up. There we go. Yeah, a little bit of a kink, but not too bad. So that's the shielding up. I'm going to keep that with the board as to prevent charge and everything from going through the board. And other than that, let's get this washed. All right, so the casing's clean, ready to begin reassembly. So I've just simply placed the board into the bottom of the casing here, and what we're going to do is get ready to screw it back in. So there are 2 screws, and they conveniently label the board, telling me where they go right here, with this picture of kind of like an ice cream cone, but that's actually a screw. And there is the other location. The other screw holes don't have that symbol on them, so that's it's a helpful move by Panasonic to do that for me. So I'm going to grab 2 of those screws, and we're going to get them put into place here. There's 1, and there's 2. So next is going to be the shielding on the top here. So the shielding sits in place like that. I'm just making sure that all the cutouts and everything go around the parts they need to. It should sit flush and solidly in place. I believe you're going to have screws going through, let's see if I can recall where. Just basically not where the bottom, where the holes through the bottom go. So like here, won't get a screw. Here, will not get a screw. And same thing around here. So by kind of just feeling around, we're going to put a screw in right here. Anyways, I'm going to put those in and I'll show you where I place them. Okay, so I've got the screws installed, and to make sure that you've got the proper amount in, you should have 2 of those silver screws remaining. So they're going to go into place right here, 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 and here. So next up is going to be reassembling this disk drive. So there are a number of connectors. You have to be careful about how you put them into place. So I'm going to start basically on the top side and fold it down. So I have this guy right here, which connects into this slot here. And you just have to push it in just straight. Give it firm pressure and it goes in pretty easily. Next connector, this one, is going to go into place right there. So again, same deal, just straight in. It doesn't take a lot of effort to put it in, so just making sure that you're getting good connection. Now, power connector, this guy is going to go into this spot. Not like that. Nope. There we go, just like that. We have another ribbon connector. This big ribbon connector goes into that slot right here. Let's see if we can zoom in a little bit for you. So ribbon connector into here. And lastly, another power connector goes into there. All right, so now those are in place. So this power cord, oh, you're just out of sight here. Let me rotate this a bit. So the power cable on the bottom here, it actually has this little track that it sits in so that you're not going to get it pinched up once you reinstall anything. So we'll get it into place there, and now it's time to get the power supply in. So the power supply sits in place. You have the cutoff corner here, the sharp corner on the left side, and it just sits just into place like that. There we go. And then you reattach the ribbon cable. Very important that this goes in place firmly. If it's off, you may not get the proper power going to the board. And now, once again, they've been kind enough to label where to put your screws. One right there, and one right there. So let's put those into place again. So you might notice that I haven't put in the power switch and the power plug yet, and there's a reason for that. I don't want to get those into place until this is screwed down, and the reason for that is if I start putting pressure on the board, when it's not plugged in, it might just simply not connect properly, or worst case scenario, it could end up breaking something, which we really don't want to do. Now, let's get those into place. So, as I mentioned before, with the power port, the square side goes on the bottom from the angle that you're looking. So, all you really should need to do is just push it straight into place, and it goes into the connector. Same thing with the power. So, this one will only fit in one way. You notice if I put it in the wrong way, these contacts here don't line up properly. So, we'll put it in this way. Give it some pressure, and there we go. We've got a firm, solid connection. The last part is going to be this cover for the disk drive. So again, it should just sit right in place like that. There was taping it to the shielding. We've since lost the tape, but we have these pins that will hold it into place. So the pins, again, are only on 2 of the connectors, so it goes in here, so from on the other side, or actually, sorry, on the top side. What am I talking about? You simply push it straight down until you get a click. There's your 1, and number 2 there we go. So this is reassembled. If we wanted to test it with a game, I could do that right now. So I'm going to throw the disc in. And really what I'm looking for here isn't that I'm getting video or anything. It's just that to check for power and that the disk drive is spinning. You don't want to go through plugging everything back or screwing everything back together only to find out that you missed a connector and it doesn't spin. So power on. Oh, power on. There we go. There we go. So have to hold down that door close button. So looks like it's spinning, looks like it's reading. This is the access light, this is the power light. And it's blinking occasionally, there we go. Laser's doing things, disc is spinning levelly, so to me, this is good. So we're gonna get the top reassembled here, and then we're ready to screw the casing back together, and this is one clean system. So we'll set that aside. Now this is the top. So I've cleaned the top up. We've gotten rid of the sticker that was here and everything else. It's dry, so it is safe to put it back together. So what we need to do first is, this is the guy we took off, which is what holds the door into place. It's that little click connector thing. So all you do, you simply push it down and it sits into place there. Now, the next step is going to be the spring. The spring's a little bit trickier because it has to go on a certain way, and I believe that way is like this, yes. So there's an end here with a hook and an end here with a little loop, let's call it. The hooked end goes in the door. So you start out, you put the hooked end in there. I'm pretty sure the hooked end goes there. Yeah, definitely not the looped end. So the hooked end goes in the door itself, and you may need to kind of encourage it to snap into place there with your finger or something. And then the curved end is going to ride in this little track here. So the tricky part is going to be getting that into place while fitting the door in. There's no real easy way of doing this. The door only fits in, let's see, let's turn this a bit. You're going to have to kind of wrestle with this a little bit to get the door to really sit into place where you want it. And once it's there, then... Alright, I'll work on this. There. So this end of the door is in place. What I'm going to do for this corner is just to kind of push it in. And you're going to bend the plastic a little bit, really hoping this doesn't break. Anyways, I'm going to still continue on that, but then the spring is going to sit right in that track that I missed, right there. So when you close it, it rides along that rail. And then the last step is getting this last piece of the door in. So it may be easier to pull it back a bit, bend it, and then it sits into place. There we go. So now that opens up nicely. And we're ready to go. So last step to get this all together, it's going to be those 7 screws on the back. So there we have the 3DO. Flip it over. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So I'm going to put those in quickly, and I'll be back once they are in place. Cover's in place. Flip it over, and that's what we've got here. So this is a cleaned up 3DO. I think it looks really good. There's no scratches, nothing I really needed a lot of attention, just needed a bit of a clean, and we are back in action. So I'm gonna have to order myself a controller or two and start keeping an eye out for 3DO stuff. But anyways, this looks good. So one thing I wanted to mention before I finish this video, you note that there's only one controller port. Seems odd considering the name of the system is 3DO Interactive Multiplayer. So why is it that it has one controller port? Well, you see, they did something a little bit odd. I'm just going to call it weird. You can only plug in one controller to the system, but the controllers have a controller port on them, so you could actually daisy chain controllers back together, which sounds incredibly awkward because you're going to be sitting there with a friend hooking their controller into your controller connected to you. So it just seems like a really weird way of going about playing multiplayer games. Having said that, that means I'm going to have to find myself two controllers and try this out, because that's nothing that I've ever seen before. So when I do find that, I might make a bit of a review on the 3DO. Like I mentioned, it is something that you don't really see very often. So that's it for today. So thanks a lot for watching. I hope that this might be helpful for anyone who picked up a 3DO recently to be able to open it up, clean it out, just really kind of get it looking good again. This didn't cost me a ton. I mean, it's more than I usually spend on a used console. That whole lot cost me $100. So if I look at it, 10-15 bucks for each of the controllers, I still spent about $70 on this as is. Turns out as is was seemingly working fine, which is a steal. These generally go for closer to $200. So at the end of the day, I am very happy with that purchase. And once I get my controllers in, I'll make a follow-up video and show you really what this is all about. So thanks a lot for watching. Be sure to like the video if you like it, of course. If you don't, tell me why. I want to know what I can do to make these videos better as well. Subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. You'll be one of the first to see every time I upload a new video. If there's anything that you want to see that I haven't done so far, shoot me a message or leave a comment below, and I'll see if it's something that I can do for you. Thanks a lot, though, and we'll see you next time.